Alright, looking at non-calculated free response, we have 4 questions to knock out, and then we are officially done with this first practice exam.
Wish I could have this.
This one- I like this one.
Okay, let me try and recreate the picture here, because it is nice to talk about all the pieces and components that go into making. What are you jerks is using a pencil?
What?
These are not yours, some of you are kind of drawing and putting little stuff in here that.
I didn't draw.
No, there's not, you can tell somebody's used a pencil to try and trace, even though they didn't write anything, they messed up my plastic.
That's like the other day when I was looking at it, the ones where you count the area, they were like little pencil dots.
Yeah, it irritates the Jesus out of me. You know, this is my stuff, not yours, don't mess up my stuff.
I
Oh,
think
I see
sorry.
a lie something.
It wasn't me though.
I poked the,
You're part of the kid generation, so you're guilty by association.
I poked the paper because I was like counting
Why?
squares. I just like didn't poke it.
I'm pretty sure I'm the oldest one in here. Except for you.
I think I got you beat,
Second.
See if I find any other mistakes.
I don't know, how old are you, Graham?
18.
18.
You have to figure it out.
Alright, so we had a semicircle here.
Who's the youngest?
The youngest is either you or Gabby.
Gabby, how old are you? I'm
17.
pretty sure you're younger than me.
Like 17.
What?
When's your birthday?
What?
December.
Yeah, I'm older than you.
You're older than me?
Gabby's the baby,
I'm always the baby.
Seniors, I'm the youngest. I'm only the youngest of the seniors. I think all the seniors actually probably.
It sickens me that some of y'all are still missing these kind of clips.
Did I get any of this? Let's see.
Yeah.
A bunch of this.
I think I guessed.
No, I didn't, JK, I got.
Sort of.
part of
Tried.
this.
Thought maybe I would get it, and then it just wasn't coming out.
Who's number 3?
This is number 3, yeah. I'm trying to recreate it up here so we can talk about it.
No, I did
An
not get
actual
this.
question, Gabby's in the back of the book somewhere. Alright.
Okay, so here's the picture. Let f be the continuous function, continuous is nice, so it is defined everywhere, between -4 and 3, consisting of 3 line segments and a semicircle centered at the origin. G is given as the antiderivative from 1 to x of f of t dt. Got it. So this is our starting point. I would make great note of that on the AP. This is where we're going to start calculating area if they ask, at 1. So to the right, I'm going to be gaining area, and to the left, I'm going to be losing area. Before I even read the question, let's just talk about the signs of areas. If I'm moving to the right from 1, this is going to be negative area. I am gaining negative area. From here to here, this area is actually going to be positive because I am losing negative area. From here to here, I am losing positive area, so that's technically negative area, and that's more negative area.
I can't see the circles.
Okay? Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they do not. Now, if they had started me at 0, then yes, they would actually cancel each other out, but we didn't do that. Alright, let's picture it up there. So let's see what they wanted. Part A, find g of 2 and g of -2. Alright, g of 2. So they want me to find all the area from, let's do this, starting at, well, let me write it. If we take the g function and plug in 2, we're going to get the antiderivative from 1 to 2 f of t. And we know this just means area. So they basically wanted the area from 1 to 2. Will that answer be positive or negative?
From 1 to 2,
Yeah, here's 1, here's 2.
Yeah.
negative.
The answer will be negative. Okay, so that area right there is going to be negative. Let's do it. A couple of ways. You could come up with the equation in that line and actually take out antiderivative, or you could just find the area of a triangle. Area of a triangle is going to be 1/2 base times height. The base in this case is 1.
And the height, blah, 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 blah.
It's whatever this distance is. So let's use this right here to get a slope and maybe figure out what that point is. It went from 1, 0 to 3, -1. I dropped 1 unit over 2, so that's gonna be a half, -1/2. Alright, so that's 1/4. And because we know the area is below heading to the right, our answer should be -1/4. Okay. How hard should that have been? Yeah, not terribly hard at all. Okay. How about g of -2? Well, starting at 0, heading to -2, so we're gonna cut it off right here.
That's too simple.
Alright.
Unit circle,
Um,
semicircle, area half is
Positive or negative area?
positive,
Positive area. Why is this one gonna be positive?
because it's negative.
Wait, why are we starting at 2?
We're not. We're starting
Okay.
at
I
1.
thought I heard you say 0, so I was like, huh?
Why is this positive?
It's a negative area.
Moving to the left of your starting point means you're losing, and since that area is below, it's negative, so we are losing negative area, which technically means we're gaining area, so that's positive. This one, right here, we are losing positive area, so this part's gonna be negative. So what I'm thinking is area of this minus area of that,
Area of that is pi.
okay? Color code everything. So, you don't really need to write this. What?
Can
You okay?
you went?
Oh yeah, you were here for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She dug out the good part, yeah. Let's see, area of semicircle. Well, the area of a circle is pi r squared, so this is gonna be half of that. The radius is 1, so 1/2 of pi times 1 squared, or pi halves, half pi, okay? Minus whatever this is. Area of that triangle, that is a 1/3. So 1 times 3 is 3, half of that is 3/2. That would have been a perfectly fine answer, pi 2 minus 3/2, or pi minus 3 over 2. Okay, however you want to write it. What do you think that was worth?
Point.
1 point each, one for the g of 2, one for the g of -2. Don't just watch, I get that. You can't really take this stuff out of the room, but you can make notes to yourself or either in your notebook or mentally. Make sure these questions are too easy for us to be missing. All I'm doing is adding up area. Stop getting them wrong. All right. Working marker here. There we go. Forgot to bring all my extra markers.
You need a reminder.
I do. I used to keep a box of them with me. All right, what's B asking? For each of g prime of -3 and g double prime of -3, find the value or state that it does not exist. All right, let's talk g prime of -3.
Okay, so g prime 3 would be,
By the way, as a hint, you don't want to look at g. This has nothing to do with g at all.
well, g is really nothing, just take it over, so what's f at?
Well, if this is g, and this is technically g prime, if I take the
It's
derivative
just
of the left, I take the derivative of the right, it's really f. And you know what, saying this might actually get you a point sometime, or some credit, showing, oh look, I know that g prime really is regular old f. All right, so what is f of -3?
2.
It is, well, here's -3. It is basically asking you, what is that value right there? And it's pretty easy. This is a line with a slope of 1, okay?
So I said
And
1.
so it starts here at 1, gets to 3 over 2 units, so that is 2. Good. That's perfectly fine for your answer right there. You want to get that one?
Yeah.
Almost got it right?
Yeah, she said -2, so it's
Oh, sad face.
Ooh.
All right, now, If G prime is F, then G double prime is
1.
F prime. What does F prime mean?
The slope.
Slope, that's good, that's the first thing we did here in calculus class is what's the derivative, what is slope? So what is the slope at -3?
1.
1.
I have both those right.
Also 2 points.
Those are the only 2 points. I know I got one more point somewhere.
C. Find the x-coordinate of each point at which the graph of G has a horizontal tangent line. For each of these points, determine whether G is a max, a min, or neither, and justify your answer. All right. I wanted horizontal tangent lines. Okay, how do we find horizontal tangent lines? No, that's an asymptote. Horizontal asymptote.
Oh, or.
That's the.
Oh, zeros.
More than
The-
just zero. We write it in point slope form, but how do we get the slope?
Derivative of f.
Good. And
Equals
since the
0.
tangent line, they want it to be horizontal, what is the slope of a horizontal line?
0.
0. So basically they're asking me when is the derivative equal to 0. So I would start by saying that. I'm looking for when the derivative of G, which is f, equals 0. So, where does that happen?
Wait, when the derivative of what? Wait,
Where's the derivative of G, which is
negative 1 1.
really just f, equals 0?
Negative 1 1.
How did you get that?
The picture.
Look at the picture.
Yeah.
Dot there, okay?
It's parentheses.
Well, I was trying to circle it, I didn't want to mess up the graph. Okay, by the way, you've just earned 2 points by writing that down. Number 1, I know I'm supposed to be looking for this situation, and number 2, here's where that happens. All right, so at x equals -1. Here's what they asked, max, min, or neither, and why. Okay, how would we typically, ignore the picture, how would we typically tell where there's a max or a min?
Max is when it goes I know, let me fix it, when, in this case, f goes from positive to negative or negative to positive.
That's where we'd have a max or min respectively.
Yeah.
Good. And if it doesn't, if it goes from positive
Negative
to positive or
to
negative to
negative.
negative, then it's neither. It's false positive, okay? So let's consider -1. Did G prime, which is really f, go from positive to negative, negative to positive, or neither?
It went to positive to negative
Very
and then
good.
either.
F, here's a picture of
Oh,
F.
I see it.
F is positive here, negative here, that's -1. So on the left side we were positive, right side we were negative, that's a max or min?
Alright, so
Wait, positive.
Max. That's a max,
and then
okay?
either.
So at x equals -1, G has a relative max because G prime, or F, so either one of those, changes from positive to negative there.
See, even if I know what I was doing, I probably got that wrong, because I would have messed it up somehow or another.
Yeah, a lot of y'all do. A bunch of y'all, throughout the year, every time I've asked y'all this question, it's very difficult for y'all to get full credit. There's one girl over at Green Sea that just, she's got that sentence cold. She never gets these wrong. And some of y'all, depending on the day, because you use the word it, I'll automatically stop reading. It does the, whatever.
I
I don't know what it you're talking about.
I've got books too many times for that.
Yeah, try not to. All right, at x equals +1.
Neither.
Why?
Negative to negative.
Okay. G has neither a max nor min.
Mar or it was Mar.
Mar, yeah. Max nor min because G prime or F doesn't change signs. Do we still need to talk about that? This has been, every single quest for the last 3 or 4 weeks, you've seen one of these, probably even before that, okay? These are not the kind of questions that we miss anymore.
I have this joy in my head from yesterday, when we did like, what, 3 of them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, from the multiple choice, back to back, you're like, holy crap, how many times are they gonna ask this? Until you get it right. D. What's D asking? Find all values of x for which g has a point of inflection. Oh my word! Point of inflection. Okay, forget the picture. How do we find points of inflection?
Take 2 derivatives and where the sign change.
Good, I need a second derivative and where the sign actually changes from either positive to negative or negative to positive. So, I need to consider g double prime of x or f prime of x changes sign at, okay, now f prime changing sign. Now f prime means f's slopes. So where do f's slopes change direction?
-2.
-2,
And
0.
0,
and 2.
and 1. Okay? Going up to going down to going up to going down. So g probably changes sign at x equals -2, 0, and 1. Therefore, it has points of inflection at those values. Stop missing these. Now. Done. Are we good? Awesome. All right. Take whatever mental pictures you need to right there. There we go.
Oh, no, never mind. I thought this was a bird problem.
The bird problem, what is that number?
Oh, is the
It's-
bird
Are we up to the
problem
bird
next?
problem? Is it
The
time?
5?
No.
Yeah,
That's
it's like 5.
No.
It's 4.
No, that's okay.
It's
I don't know
fine.
why y'all hated the bird problems.
It's stupid.
It's
The
great.
birds.
I didn't have that much the bird problem. But I probably got
Made no sense.
Perfect sense.
I went with Tim's
Oh,
idea.
I knew that. How did I even?
I
Why
got
does
points
this all
in the
matter?
bird problem. I like the bird problem.
For
That's
us,
when you crack.
the
yeah.
basis-
I don't care.
the basis of the question is invalid. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Who cares?
The bird cares.
The bird doesn't have feelings.
It does, bird, flew thing. So
Alright.
silly.
So here's how they started this on number 4. And you know, sometimes I'm thinking the less setup, the less there's gonna be to this problem. And this is a dinky little, not that much to it, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. Let's see, that's it, that's all the setup is. Let f be the function, defined by f of x equals that on the interval from -5 to 5. Find f prime.
That's easy.
Oh,
You'd think, so why didn't everybody get it right?
I'm sorry. I did.
Alright, f prime of x, go. How are we supposed to do this?
Wait, I don't know.
I did something.
It's a chain.
Chain rule, very good. Okay, so the outside function is the root of something. So that derivative will be 1/2 something to the -1/2, then we're gonna chain it. Derivative of the inside is
2x, -2x.
-2x. Oh, by the way, don't do this. Okay, you know what you're trying to do, times -2x, but that just looks like you're trying to do subtraction there, and it's not.
It looks like I was multiplying.
Yeah, it looks like you, I don't know what you were doing.
I
It
was
looks
multiplying
silly.
-2x.
Don't do that. You could clean this up if you wanted to, the 1/2 and the 2 cancel, and you get -x over square root of 25 minus x squared. Although on the AP test, the first time you have the right answer, they'll grade it and that's it, okay? The only reason I'm thinking do this is if we have to go further with it, if they want me to do something else. There's one piece of this that nobody ever writes, and I'm curious this year this is the 2012 test, whether or not they counted off for it. This is the part nobody ever writes. Okay? If our original function was defined here, now we can't actually include 5 and -5 because that gives us 0 in the denominator. So if they had taken the time to limit the original domain, which they didn't need to because it was understood, you should limit the derivative. I don't think they took off points for that, but they did make a note of saying that nobody really
Okay,
mentioned the.
because there it's possible to put in 5, because you'll just get,
Okay, so
Yeah.
now what does it mean if the function actually exists there, but the derivative does not? What kind of slope is it?
it's an it just ends.
The function exists there. There is a dot there, but the derivative does
side
not.
It's an endpoint, because it's a.
It's a vertical tangent. This is a circle, by the way, circle of radius 5, so it makes sense that on the ends you actually have vertical tangents, and the slope of a vertical line is undefined. That's why we had a point that exists with a derivative that did not. That happens typically 99.9% of the time when you have a vertical cusp, something like that,
That's what I was.
which is what's happening here.
ends on the one.
All right, B. What do you want me to do on B? Write an equation for the line tangent. Seriously, if you got this one wrong,
What, what?
find the equation of the tangent line.
Shh,
I
guys.
got this one.
All right, I need a point. Was it -3?
-3.
All right, so f of -3, where's my original? All right, -3 squared is 9, 25 minus 9 is 16, look at that, 4. By the way, it is positive 4 because this is the top half of the circle, the positive root, not the negative. I need f prime of -3, thanks to my derivative. We're going to get positive 3 on top and a positive 4 on the bottom, so 3/4. So my equation would be y minus 4 is equal to 3/4 times x plus 3. If you want to go further and move the 4 over, you're perfectly fine, but this is the first place you would get your full credit and move on. This is worth 2 points. This you didn't actually get a point for. You got 1 point for finding the slope and then 1 point for your final equation, which technically means you had to find the point at some stage of the game there. All right, part C. This is the one nobody gets. Let g be the function defined as follows. So for part C, they tell us g is equal to f of x from -5 to -3 and equal to x plus 7 or -3 less than x less than or equal to 5. Okay, so we're only going to use this equation for a chunk of it and then the line's going to take over. Question, is g continuous at x equals -3? Use the definition of continuity to explain your answer. Nobody does that. Or you think you're doing it, but you're not quite right.
I did
Okay.
backwards.
There are 3 conditions that have to be met in order to show something is continuous. Condition number 1. I need to show that g of -3 actually exists. Okay? Number 2. I need to show that the limit as x approaches -3 of g of x exists. And number 3, I need to show that these two things equal each other. So the point, I can take it and plug it into the function, I can get something out. I can take a limit at that point, and that limit equals the actual dot. Okay? So that we don't have something like this. Here's a situation where your limit exists, but your function value isn't the same. So this would be not continuous. We'd have limits, but we wouldn't be continuous. Nobody ever mentions the limit part of this, and they are specifically looking for a limit definition. So, what is g of -3?
4.
Where do you plug that?
In the original function.
Negative.
Where is -3? Which part of
The
this
second
graph
one that
gets,
Both.
no,
Both.
no.
Oh,
This
top,
one does
top,
not
top,
include
top.
negative three,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's here. If I plug negative three, we've already done
I was
that, we
thinking
got
positive
4.
3 for some reason.
Okay, now let's talk limit. Because I've got two pieces of function, I need to consider both halves. So what happens when x approaches negative 3 from the left? The left side is here, okay? And when we do that, we do indeed end up with 4. What about the limit as x approaches negative 3 from the right? Well, that's this piece of graph, and if I stick in negative 3, I get 4. Okay? All of it matches. The limit exists, the limit equals the function value, therefore we are continuous. Okay? G is continuous at x equals negative 3 because limit as x approaches negative 3 of g of x equals g of negative 3, which is 4.
Okay.
Nobody ever talks about the limit, so anytime they ask you for continuity, you better slap a limit in there somewhere. They won't even give you a half a
So
point.
just say that the limit is.
Okay.
And this sentence right here, this is putting these two pieces together. The left and the right were the same, so that means we had a limit at that point.
Okay.
That's gorgeous. Don't mess that one up. That's an understandable one. It's been a long time since we did limits, so that's not one I truly fault you on.
So you just say limit of that equals 4 and say that's true.
But you need, in order to say this, you needed to have done both sides first. You
How do
need
you
to
know
show.
those are true?
Huh?
How do you know those are true?
Because
Because you did the limit
I just
equation.
did the math. The left-hand side of this graph is this, and if you use negative 3 there, you get 4. The right-hand side of this graph is that. If you use negative 3, you get 4.
So you need to show your word.
So you, so, yeah, the limit,
Plus the.
both sides are approaching 4. And because both sides are approaching 4, then we can say we actually have a limit there, and it is 4. And then you gotta tie it to the actual function value, which is negative 3. Technically, we weren't really plugging it in. We were plugging in numbers really close, like negative 3.0001 or negative 2.99999. That's technically what we should have done. It's kind of hard to show that on the test, so they just assume that's what you did. All right, D. These are easy, but kids never mention limits. Or other kids. My kids will, but other kids will not. Find the value of 0 to 5 of x square root of 25 minus x squared dx. Okay, straight up antiderivative, what do you do?
U sub?
U sub, very good, U sub. I'm gonna let u be 25 minus x squared. Du is equal to negative 2x dx, I don't have a 2. Negative 1/2 du equals x dx. This should be robot math by now, okay? So this is going to be negative 1/2 antiderivative of square root of u du.
Mm-hmm.
This is your u part, and the x dx, that's the du. Only thing we need to do, make your choice. Either leave it like this and switch it back to x's with a 0 and a 5. Don't you dare put 0 and a 5 on this, because it's not right. You either wait, switch it back to x's, or the smarter thing to do would be to go ahead and change it. If x is 0,
25.
this is 25. If x is 5, this is 0.
So it's going to be a negative number. And it's not, it's not true.
Right, this will be negative, but with that negative out front, it'll end up being positive, which makes sense. We're taking the area into the top half of the circle, kinda. It's not with this extra x in front, but it's kinda what we're doing here. Okay, by the way, you could also do this if you don't like it. What I did here, this is basically heading the wrong direction, so you're losing area. If I turn it into the right direction, it makes that area the opposite sign of what it would have been. Some people like to go this way. It doesn't matter. If you do this math, it'll turn out to be the same thing anyway. All right, what's the antiderivative of square root of u?
1/3 u to the 3/2.
Almost. Oh, I got you. You're
Alright.
combining it with that. I got you. Okay, so here's the 1/2 in front. This is gonna be u to the 3/2.
Yeah.
Multiply by 2, let's see what you're doing there. And from 0 to 25, and you're right, these will cancel out. So we get 1/3. Let's see, 25 to the 3/2. Well, square root of 25 is 5, 5 to the third is 125. And 0 is 0, so I get 125 over 3.
And I gotta get
You know, it is possible. Don't think to yourself if you get a negative, it's wrong.
that's what you can put in there.
Yeah. It's not, I think you just lost it. Like you had it here, but you forgot. You can get negative answers. They're just asking you to do a straight up area question, and if it's negative, it just means we have more negative area. It's fine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, number 4.
Okay, well, I put the whole thing positive.
Yeah. And you are going from 0 to 5, so you're talking about all positive numbers over there. Okay, mentally snapshot that one. You good?
Bird.
I figured you all seem to have done well enough on the bird one. I think we can just skip it because we all did fine.
No,
I got 2 points.
not said with the bird one.
You got 2 points?
I got 2 points for the bird.
I got 2
I got 4
points.
points too.
Oh, this is fancy.
Ooh. No, I'm kidding, this is the bird. I don't think it's funny.
That's not the.
That is the bird problem.
5 is the bird problem.
That is the bird problem.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, the rate at which a baby bird gains weight is proportional to the difference between its adult weight and its current weight.
I don't know why I hated it so much. I was like, hey.
Stupid.
By the way, you can do C, which is worth 5 points, without getting any of the other hard. B is really the only one that should have tripped you up.
This was the one that you laughed at me about,
Yeah.
because I was thinking I was doing A, because I totally misread it, and I stopped, and I'm like,
I
what?
did A
And then I realized I
right.
was doing C, and then after I realized that, because I reread them, and I was like,
A was
what?
easy, B was.
And then I finished the rest of it.
B was weird.
and then
The only reason B was weird is because y'all were reading the variables wrong.
Yeah, it was most, it was just having that in the equation made it really awkward.
That you looked at the B as the variable and not as the actual function.
I just couldn't look at anything else, I'm like, then where is the variable? Doesn't, like, how do you, if it's not, it was,
Think of it as related rates, is the easiest way to do it. Let's see.
it's a variable.
At t equals 0, then the bird is first weighed, its weight is 20 grams. If b of t is the weight of the bird in grams, then dB dt is that. Okay, so let y equal b of t be the solution to the differential equation with the initial condition b of 0 equals 20. That's going to be important. That little b of 0 equals 20 is important.